What's taking the governor so long?
He probably can't find anything to charge him with.
I find no fault.
You mean you found no violations of Roman law?
I am bound by Roman law. I have no jurisdiction over other laws.
Have you forgotten the law of the Jews, who are under your jurisdiction?
If you have an internal religious dispute, you can handle it yourselves.
But Roman law prohibits us from carrying out our own death penalty.
Death penalty? For what? I just tortured this man with 40 lashes with a cat of 9 tails. All he would confess to as being king of the Jews. You think that's a capital offense?
Yes.
Yes.
Because we already have a king.
Yes. King Herod.
Why all this allegiance to King Herod all of a sudden? You Jews hate King Herod. He isn't even a descendant of your ancestor Jacob. He is an Edomite, the descendant of Esau. You have never accepted the Herod family as your kings since we imposed them upon you decades ago. Now,
Yes, we do.
if anyone should be upset about a man claiming to be the rightful heir to the throne, it should be King Herod. How is it, then, that Herod examined this man and finds him to be no threat to his throne?
Herod was probably fearful of an uprising.
Yes. That's it. Herod already upset the people when he killed John the Baptist.
Yes, that's it. Everybody knows that John the Baptist was a co-conspirator with Jesus to take over Herod's throne.
And yet, Herod sees Jesus as no threat.
There are other implications of this conspiracy.
Yes. In addition to claiming to be king, Jesus also claims to be equal with God.
Well, then, it's back to being a religious matter. You take him and deal with him.
No. Why?
Because our law says that anyone who claims to be equal with God is guilty of blasphemy.
Yes, that's it. And the penalty for blasphemy is death.
I know enough about your law to know that he can only be convicted of blasphemy if he claims to be equal with God and is not God.
Well, of course he's not God.
How preposterous.
But I thought he gave you several demonstrations of God's power. Didn't he heal people, drive out demons, calm the storms, and even raise people from the dead?
Well, yes.
Allegedly.
Well, if he demonstrated God's power, wouldn't that disprove the blasphemy charge?
Yes.
No. We think Jesus got the power for his miracles from the devil himself.
Well, then, that still makes this a religious issue. You deal with him.
But our laws requires that we stone him to death.
Okay.
But Roman law doesn't allow us to execute.
You hypocrites. You Jews have been stoning people to death behind our backs since we conquered this land. Why are you suddenly so interested in being law-abiding citizens?
That's a good question.
Would you like my permission to execute Jesus?
Yes.
No.
No? I thought we...
You take him. He's yours. Do with him as you wish.
A moment.
What do you want from me? You want him dead. Execute him.
If Jesus dies by stoning, it will be too good.
He will be just as dead if you kill him as if I killed him.
Yes. But if we stone him, there won't be enough witnesses.
I don't understand.
Me either. When we stone someone to death, the law requires a minion. A minion is 10 witnesses. Isn't that enough?
No. When we stone someone to death, we usually throw him into a pit and drop large stones on his head from the rim of the pit.
Well, it works. He usually ends up dead.
But the problem is the only people who can see him die are the 10 people standing around the pit.
Oh yes, that's right. But in a Roman execution, Jesus will be lifted high on a cross, like the brass serpent that Moses lifted up on the wooden pole in the desert, so all 2 million people in the camp could see it at once.
And why should I care if 10 people or 10 million people see Jesus dying?
We want to make an example of him.
You talk as if we had an epidemic of people claiming to be the king of the Jews. The last guy who claimed to be the king of the Jews led his disciples out to the desert where they all died of thirst.
If we stone him, he'll die right away. But if he's hung on a cross...
You...
Yes. He insulted us. We want him to suffer. And we want everyone to see the punishment for people who insult us.
So, it's personal.
There's something at stake here for you too. As I said, Jesus not only claims to be King of the Jews, he also claims to be equal with God.
I thought,
If Jesus claims to be God, he not only competes with our God, Jehovah, he also competes with your God.
my God,
I will remind you that the Roman emperor...
as if some Jew 1,000 miles from Rome is a big threat to Caesar.
I wonder how Caesar would react if he found out his governor had the ability to stop an uprising but failed to act.
An uprising?
A man who claims to be on a par with the Lord of Lords and King of Kings sounds like a serious threat to the security.
I've never heard a single word about an uprising from Jesus or any of his disciples. They call him the Prince of Peace.
Listen to the crowd outside.
Crucify him.
Crucify
him.
I think we should write a letter to Rome, don't you?
It would be a real shame if Caesar found out that one of his governors had a seditionist in his grasp and let him escape.
Listen to that crowd, will you?
Crucify him.
Crucify
him.
Why are you doing this? This man is your savior.
We keep the law. We don't need a savior.
Crucify
him.
Crucify
him.
All right, have it your way. I'll do your dirty work for you. Guards, take the prisoner to jail. We'll crucify him in 2 days.
It would be better if he died today. It would be...
Roman law requires a 2-day waiting period for the...
Listen to that crowd, will you?
Crucify
him.
Crucify
him.
It would be better if he died today. It would be better.
Crucify
him.
Crucify
him.
All right. All right. Guards, take the prisoner out of the city and crucify him.
You've been very cooperative, Your Eminence. We shall take...
Your Eminence.
I am innocent of this man's blood. The blood of Jesus will be upon your hand.
Based on a play by Bob Snook. Conditions for use. Do not sell any part of this script, even if you rewrite it. Pay no royalties, even if you make money from the performance. You may reproduce and distribute this freely, but all copies must contain this statement.